this takes me back like 40 years. The cockroach takes me back 40 years, even more.
Yes.
Still
Probably,
like today.
yeah, 50.
It's evergreen.
50 years. Yeah,
It's evergreen.
I don't. That was the deluxe school.
It's evergreen. Okay, that's it. Hope you're ready, no? Okay. It's a pleasant morning, Sunday morning to you all. Good morning and welcome to the program. It's Sunday morning live on FM here in the studios of OGBC 90.5 in Abeokuta. With me, Wole Otayemi. In today's edition of the program, we are going into the health sector. People will say health is wealth. It is worldwide. It's a saying that goes everywhere on the planet. Wherever you go, you must be healthy. If you are not healthy, you are not having a life worthy of living. In Nigeria, the health sector we have in this country is pluralistic in nature because we have the private and public sector driven, and then equally we have treating people. But the country has made significant record and achievement in transforming the sector to make it more viable. Remember what we went through during the COVID-19 pandemic about 3-4 years ago? Though we have the world, they lost a lot of people, but Nigeria was able to be managed to an appreciable level. Although in Nigeria, the first case of COVID-19 was experienced in Ogun State, and the government was so proactive and intentional in its dealings with the pandemic and they did a lot of things to limit the scourge from spreading beyond control. Several initiatives were taken, and that is why the government is standing shoulder high among its colleagues in the Committee of State in the country that we have fought and won the battle against COVID-19. As we speak now, government is making frank effort to vaccinate children at different locations across the state. What is the essence of this? We will be told this morning in the course of the show, this wonderful Sunday, with our guest already seated beside me here in the studio, the Honorable Commissioner for Health in Ogun State, Dr. Tomi Koka. Dr. Koka, welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be
because
here.
of the exigency of the job on duty, I will not even go to your CV. I don't want to go to she attended this university, she did this, she did that in UK and this. Let us go straight to the business because health is wealth. And I know you are passionate about children.
Absolutely.
What's really right now in Ogun State?
So across Nigeria currently, we're vaccinating our children between ages 9 months to 59 months against the contagious disease called measles. And in Ogun State, we started our campaign yesterday, Saturday the 19th, and it's going to carry on till Friday the 25th. What we're doing is from every primary health center, we're going to be going to mosques, churches, garages, schools, and as many public places as possible to capture our children who are between the ages of 9 months and 59 months. The last time that this campaign was run in Ogun State was in 2022. In October 2022, we had about 117 cases of measles identified in Ogun State. Okay. But as we speak till today, in Ogun State, 2024, we've only identified 29, which means that the campaign we did 2 years ago worked because there's been over an 80% reduction in the number of cases. So we're urging parents, guardians, and caregivers to bring their wards, their children, and children under their care between the ages of 9 months and 59 months to get vaccinated. Even if they were vaccinated 2 years ago, regardless of their vaccination status, they should please come out and get vaccinated.
I went around some areas in town yesterday as a journalist, as a reporter, to see for myself. I mean, first-time information. I saw some children being vaccinated at different locations. Excellent. Today being Sunday, are you thinking of going towards the religious homes because there will be much gatherings in religious homes this morning?
We're not thinking, we're there. my team, we have a team of over 5,000 health workers that are across all the 20 local governments and the 236 wards, vaccinating children as we speak, in churches, in mosques. As you know, as we are here, they're doing their job, because we know that do congregate on Sundays in religious institutions. So we will be reaching our children in those areas.
Because churches will have their services.
Yes.
Even some Islamic followers too.
Yeah, they
do.
do. We will be there.
You'll
We're
be there
there.
too.
Yeah, we're already there. They
Okay.
started at 8 o'clock.
How do you get feedback? What kind of mechanism you use to get feedback? Because you just send people to the field, there must be a report back to you.
Yes, so we have within each community, because you know there's a community structure. So within each community, we have mobilizers, we have our traditional rulers, we have our religious rulers, religious leaders. So we have our ward community, ward development committees, where you have chairmen, and through those structures, we get feedback as to how well it's going. And apart from that, we have monitors from the state. We assign people to each local government that go around to make sure that the campaign is going on successfully. When there are issues, we troubleshoot, and people should feel free to report through our, Servicom number. If they have issues, if you're being charged, the vaccine is safe, is effective, and is free of charge. Nobody should charge you one kobo for the vaccine. If you're being charged, please contact our Servicom number and we will deal with it. That's very important for us, particularly being charged. We don't want anybody to be charged. Any health worker that's seen charging people will be disciplined.
Now, the vaccination is for which of the communicable diseases?
So the vaccination this time around is for measles. Measles is airborne and it's spread through droplets. So when people are coughing or you're near somebody, in close contact with someone with measles, you can catch it. But the beauty of this thing, because it's highly contagious, it is also preventable once we have vaccines. And when you're vaccinated, you're not only protecting yourself, you're protecting your community, because then your ability to transfer that virus to somebody else becomes diminished. Because we found that the people that actually the cases of measles that we detected were in people that were unvaccinated. So that's why we're trying to get as many people vaccinated. If 99% of people are vaccinated, then there will be fewer people that carry the virus that will then affect the unvaccinated persons. But our hope this time through this campaign is we will get 100% vaccination rate. In 2022, we got 86% of our children vaccinated. Unfortunately, when we did a survey just a few months ago, it's only 83% of our children that are immunized. That is not right. There's still a 17% gap, and that could continue to spread the disease. The virus will still be circulating in our community. But if as many of us, even 90 to 100%, get vaccinated, the virus will have nowhere to thrive.
In the course of doing this job, I don't think whether you have this idea of going to the remotest of areas.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you going to be captured?
Oh, we are. We're going as far as Ogun water side. We are health workers. We've hired canoes and boats for them to get across to the people in riverine areas. The rural and remote areas, hard to reach areas, are usually given more resources to ensure that they can go further than the people in the city, because we do know that challenge, terrains that are challenging for our health workers, even areas around Yewa, the terrain can be quite onerous for them to cross. So we've made provision for that. No child will be left out. No one will be left behind.
I don't know why did you choose rainy season?
It's not the rainy season. Measles campaign is carried out internationally. It's an international decision. So globally, it's Nigeria's turn to actually do its measles vaccination campaign, because vaccines are manufactured in batches and each country is told when to actually do their campaign. So it's Nigeria's turn. We've received our measles vaccine and it's our turn to actually deploy those vaccines to all our children. Because if we in Nigeria don't get vaccinated, because we move around a lot, we can affect neighboring countries in West Africa and even all around the world, because human beings don't stay in one place these days. And it is important that we make our own contribution to the global health security. We're talking about health security now, because we talk about security, financial security, physical security, food security, but this is health security, and we have to play our own part as Ogun State and as Nigeria.
Well, I understand the vaccination is going simultaneously with Lagos and Oyo State.
Absolutely.
Are you considering the border towns sharing borders with these two states?
So we tend to synchronize with we're synchronizing with Lagos, Oyo, even Benin. So when we're doing our vaccination campaigns, we synchronize with all the states and borders that we share, so that some children will not cross to another part of the community. For instance, the border, if they're not doing it in Benin and the people from Yoruba cross over to Benin, will miss that child. And that is why we still continuously have that little gap, because people move around. We also have the nomads that move from the north down south. So when there's vaccination in a state, because of their occupation, they might have moved away to another part of the country, and they might miss the vaccination, and they move back when the vaccination is occurring. So we always target our North population as well.
Okay. It's Sunday Morning Live on FM here in the studios of OGBC 90.5 in Abeokuta. We have been talking about the vaccination going on against measles and its spread in Ogun State, and the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi is with us in the studios this morning. She's been explaining all the strategic movements they have had and the plans, how they are orchestrating it, how they are hatching the plans, and what it is required from the people is to take their children from 9 months to 59 months old out for vaccination. When you see health workers, don't run away. They are not asking for tax from you. They are helping you because they want to keep your child safe from measles and other communicable diseases.
You know what is important that we say is, if you do not vaccinate your child, if they end up having measles, they can end up with febrile episodes and febrile convulsion. So Giri, febrile convulsion, they can become blind, they can become deaf. That means that child will not be able to actually attain its full potential and contribute positively to the economic growth of the community, of the family, of the nation. So this is not just one person's issue. It pertains to all of us. And if we pray that our children become governors, presidents, astronauts, they can only become those occupations if they are protected, if their brain is protected. That thing affects the brain. If the child gets fever that is over 38 degrees, it can fry up the baby's brain, and that way they won't achieve their full potential.
So invariably, parents should take care of all this and make sure their children are vaccinated. Now, apart from measles, what other communicable disease or diseases that are captured under this vaccination?
We've carefully made sure that we're single focused.
Okay.
We're not mixing it. In some states, they're mixing it. But in Ogun State, because we're very careful to make sure that the misinformation and the myths associated with other vaccines is not transferred to measles. Measles is very important for the growing brain of the child. It's important to protect the child from the virus that causes measles.
Some private schools, they will admit children 2.5, 3-year-old, they're already in school. Are you targeting?
We're in schools. We started in a primary school on Friday. I did the flag off in a primary school on Friday. So we'll be going to schools as well. So from Monday this weekend, we're doing churches, we're doing mosques. Tomorrow we'll be going to primary, capture the children that are below 5.
Before I start taking calls, final question from my own end, that we follow up from this. How many days will the vaccination take?
It's a 7-day campaign. It started yesterday. It will end on Friday.
Okay.
So it's across the 20 local governments, the 236 wards of Ogun State. And so the date is 19th to 25th of October.
19th to 25th of October this year. Okay, it's Sunday Morning Live on FM here in the studios of OGBC 90.5. At this point, we will start taking your reactions, your calls. You need to ask questions. You need to seek for clarifications. The Honorable Commissioner for Health is here in the studios. If they have not reached your area between Friday and now, that doesn't mean they will not come there because they have a 7-day assignment. Wait for them tomorrow, next, and thereabout. Naturally, you will get them. So, but make sure you bring your children out because there are centers where they sit, and you see it's like a flies, a banner, and then they have all these things that indicates that they are having vaccination in such areas. 0803-437-9453, 0815-032-0226 are the two numbers to call this morning. Call us, ask your questions, seek for clarifications from the Honorable Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Koka. But don't spend beyond a minute and a half so that we can have much more responses this morning. Good morning to you, madam.
I'm so happy to be the first person to call as a lady. Good morning, Honorable Commissioner.
Good morning.
You are doing a wonderful job. Oduwatojola is my name. I'm so happy.
Okay.
I'm aware of the 3 days training for health workers at Accommodate, which is my local government of Ghana. And we held our activity yesterday at my daddy's community and disseminate the information to them. Visited our primary center, tell those nurses there to practice because in some community people don't tell people to do. We told them go to their what we do in my place, we go there. But we have so many community around us. So those health workers go there because these people, if nothing acts towards taking this.
Okay, I think
for the next one.
Thank you. I think I can capture what you have said. She said there are so many countries that she wanted workers to visit in Abeokuta North. It's a very big area too. So just note that, Honorable Commissioner. Let's take 3-4 more, then you respond all together. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Wadaka.
Thanks for calling, comrade.
Good morning.
Good morning, man. Very glad I'm with you. My name is Comrade from Abeokuta. I want to protect your point. I may give him testimony. My woman went to Buddha Market. That was her better to go and buy some food stuff. And she said that he had shared one of the immunization drugs that are meant for, I don't know the name of that immunization something there. But he took the drug home. She took the drug home. She used the drug, me and her and children. Madam, I can testify to you that if I use the drug, my vision is not so clear. Not that I'm using drugs, but I can see some clear in my vision. The immediately I use the drug, my vision, I'm talking to you. And I can see first where my productive power increase. I can do so many things. And before I'm just feeling dizzy. But to the extent that children also testify to it. In view of this, I want to encourage our people to make sure that they make the great total cooperation so that we in charge of giving the vaccine to our people.
Okay.
They should make sure that they should make sure that they enlighten, they have more person from them on how and when to use the drug because some people just collect the drug and go and treat it. It's my woman that she told me that you must use the drug everyone in your family. Really can see that it's function effective.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you for adding your voice to our campaign.
Very, very positive. Let's take a few more calls. 003-437-9453. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Mr. Otayemi.
Thanks for calling, sir.
I am Mr. Obatunde Ajayi. I am calling from Okada. How can I say? Good morning to our guest, Dr. Tomi.
Good morning, sir.
Great pleasure to have you on the program this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for this program. I'll take the first one. But in my own view now, there is still more to do in the area of sensitization.
Okay.
But in the rural area, mothers need to do that this education can save their children at the end of the day. Therefore, they don't protect with the hot water in the rural area. Whenever this vaccination management is going on, they even about the hot water and now, in view of this matter, if rural women need to be educated better on this vaccination management,
Okay.
and this will be done by making the town prayer, various towns and villages, through the government and the others. Need to be educated in Yoruba language or their dialect. They need to know the importance of this education exercise. And here, government officer, very people will send this education.
Okay.
I want to thank you very much for your attention.
Latude Ajayi from Mokiata Housing Estate this morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning to you.
That was Bankole from Wole.
Thanks for calling.
So we should compliment the effort of the government. So we should bring out our children. So prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much from Kiwoeke this morning. 003 437 9453 0815 032 226 are the two numbers to call this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
I'm Kuforiji from Nigeria.
Okay.
Now, my question is this a booster dose or it is a once and for all thing?
Okay.
There are so many diseases that have to be immunized. But I mentioned some younger children, some older children, 6 to 10 to 12 to they have missed it during their younger age. Can they still go on for this immunization? Or they just need to visit the hospital for immunization?
Okay.
That's what I want to find out.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kuforiji. Thank you very much. That's a genuine question. Honorable Commissioner, please take note. Let's add one more, then you respond. So that will make it 6. 003 437 9453. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Can you please move away from your radio set?
I just want to acknowledge the effort of the ministry. I want to be carrying the land is for you as so beneficial. So this morning I just want to commend them and to appreciate them.
Thank you very much for appreciating the Ministry of Health and indeed the Ogun State government. Okay, let's take a pause from calls. Honorable Commissioner, you have the floor. We have 6 respondents who have called this morning to show concerns about what we are doing. The first one, Mrs. Olunoti Ojelade, asked, the rural communities in Abeokuta North, would they be considered?
As I mentioned, there's no community that's been left out. We've carefully mapped out every single community. We've gone down to ward level. And to answer, I'm going to answer 2 questions at the same time. There was the talk about increasing the sensitization.
Yes.
We actually have 5 community mobilizers that are town criers permanently under our employment to drive all health education at the community level in the dialect that that community understands. So no community is going to be left out, regardless of how large that community is. For instance, Odeda is one of those LGAs that is massive, but very few people.
From Kate, I was asking you that children that have grown beyond the age of that are between 10 and 12.
So children above 5, the
Yes.
children that were vaccinated is under 5, but
Yes.
children above 5, we're hoping, because this is a 2-yearly campaign,
Okay.
we're hoping that at some point they would have been captured. However, if they have not been captured, they most likely would have developed natural immunity. If you remember when I was talking, I talked about the fact that the vaccination is for the individual immunity as well as the community immunity.
Okay.
So if those children are not captured, they don't need to do anything. They would have immunity because they will have been exposed at some point to the virus.
They was going to ask you, is it a booster dose or?
We wouldn't call it a booster dose because some would be receiving it for the first time.
Okay.
For some that got it 2 years ago, it will be a booster dose, but there will be some babies that are just 9 months that are getting it for the first time. So it's just a general measles vaccination campaign. We're not going to say booster or not. Even if you've got it before, please come out as long as you're less than 5. If you've never, particularly thank the 3 gentlemen that have added their voice to this campaign. It is impressive talking about these vaccinations,
Yes.
that our fathers are joining us in adding their voice, because we do know that in our culture, sometimes it's the man of the house that makes a decision on health matters as to do we get our child vaccinated or not. I'm very, very grateful that our fathers are right behind us, encouraging our mothers to bring the children out to get vaccinated.
The last caller, Alhaji Ailabogo, acknowledged the effort of Ogun State government in the health sector and said kudos to His Excellency and his team.
So he's one of the people that I just thank. That thank you for encouraging us. It's always good to get the positive feedback.
All right, thank you very much. Let's get across to the calls. Hello, good morning. Yes. Kyle, thanks for calling.
Thank you. Madam, good morning to you, Commissioner.
Good morning, sir.
Happy Sunday. God bless you.
Thanks.
I take this morning. Yes, I do when you said measles is preventable by vaccine. But I discovered that even among the elderly or people above the ages you mentioned, between 5 and 9 now today, elderly people also, you can see the attributes of symptoms in them, like fever, skin rashes, and loss of appetite, and so on and so forth. Headache, even physical fatigue that causes their muscle not working or functioning perfectly. How do you see? And then, can they also be able to be given all these vaccines as well? If yes, I think I want to know how soon will you be attending to those ones? Since we are looking forward to a Nigeria in transformation for health, like you said, or like Wole told us this morning. How do you see this, Amma? That's just my simple question. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Commissioner, maybe you answer immediately.
Thank you very much. This is a campaign. We have a target audience. The target audience is 9 months to 59 months. And anybody outside that age range, usually, as I mentioned earlier on, just before you came on, would have been naturally. If any adult has those symptoms, they can go to the hospital not to take part in the measles campaign. The reason for this age group is they most likely would not have been exposed, and the consequences for them is much higher. As I said, they can end up being blind, they could end up being deaf, they could end up having brain damage. And that is why we're trying to protect our children whose tissues are vulnerable at the early formative years. If an adult develops fever, your brain is already fully developed. So the consequence of that fever, the fever cannot really damage your brain because it's reached its full capacity. Whereas if a 9-month-old has a terrible fever, it can kill cells in their brains and then render them disabled and not reaching their full capacity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner. We'll return to calls 0803 437 9453 0815 032 0226. You can equally listen to this program on Radio Garden at Ogun Radio FM 90.5 also on our website, ogunradio.ng. You can listen to us live. You can equally watch us on the Facebook and YouTube at Ogun Radio Abeokuta, and can follow us and share it. You can send your comments there. We'll read and acknowledge if you cannot get to us through the phone calls. So we'll take phone calls this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Wole,
Otayemi. Larry J, thanks for calling.
God bless you. I'm doing wonderfully well. Good morning, the Honorable Commissioner for Health.
Good morning.
My name is Honorable Larry J. Larry J is calling from the People's Parliament in Japan, in Abeokuta. Well, Madam, you two are doing wonderfully well. Let me commend you for that. I just want to ask, has there been any provision, probably for a situation where majority of people will be well orientated, will be well educated, because some of our people are still naive in the rural communities, or they might think people are coming in probably for tax collection, or probably, some might even think, probably even if they take the vaccine, probably their child might be sterilized, might not be able to produce friend, if proper education and orientation not given to our people so that they can understand that they're going to, like, it have a lot of, from the, vaccine of the thing. It might not, be very good something for the people. That's what I want to know. What you are putting in place to be able to do that. Good morning, happy present day.
Thank you, Honorable Jaji. Let's add a few more calls. Then you just note it, Honorable Commissioner. 003 437 9453 0815 032 are numbers to call this morning. Call us, ask your question, pass your comments, seek for clarifications where necessary, and if you will share your experience. If between 2 days ago and now, your grandchild or your child has been immunized or has been vaccinated, tell us. If they are yet to reach your area, you can let us know so that the commissioner will know the geography of that area and how to navigate the men on ground to reach out to those places. As I said, you can listen to us on our radio, on the Radio Garden. You can watch us on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. As we are here now, we are seen live, and you can only be followed live. 0803 437 9453. Before I take a few more calls, Honorable Commissioner, you have told us for 7 days. If peradventure after the 7 days we are not able to meet up, would there be any extension, or are you planning to have a part 2 of the exercise?
Whenever we do a vaccination campaign, we go back and do what we call mop-up.
Okay.
Because we mapped out vaccinating over 1 million children. And so when we go and check, we'll make sure that we go to those communities and see, did we miss any child? And child that's been missed, we do a day or two of mop-up in those communities.
Did you give them a mark to know whether it's been vaccinated?
What we do is we paint their thumb.
Finger.
Yeah,
that's small thing.
Yes, we paint the thumb with a marker that cannot come off in 7 days. So when we see anybody below 5, we check their thumb. If they've painted, if they're not painted, we ask them questions, and if they said they haven't received it, then we immunize them. And because it's an injection, parents do know when their children have had it, because it's painful. It makes the child a little bit uncomfortable, but it's good for them.
Your advice to parents, because your team are starting the schools. They have already started the school on Friday.
Yeah.
They're going back to schools as from tomorrow.
Yes.
What do you tell the parents to do for their children? Because some children will be captured in school.
So
eating before leaving, or making sure they go to school with food.
The thing is, the vaccine is not affected by eating or not eating, if they have eaten or not eaten, but it is a healthy practice before you send your child out of the house to make sure that they eat, because they cannot learn without food in their stomach. We assume that we're all good parents, that we would have fed our children before they left home.
Let's take this call. Hello, thanks for being on the line for quite some few seconds.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Wole. Good morning, Madam Commissioner.
Thanks for calling.
I am Tomi calling from Ishara.
Okay.
Thank you very much. My question is very simple. Talking about vaccination, generally, and all those things.
Yes, sir.
What efforts have been put in place to make sure that all these things are manufactured locally? I don't know whether they are already being manufactured locally, but the general question is that all these imported vaccinations, the manufacturers have some other activity for bringing them to Nigeria. etc., etc.
Okay.
Maybe it's a conspiracy theory, but what efforts have been made to make sure that we have local manufacture of these vaccinations? Thank you, Senator Commissioner.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Honorable Commissioner, just note that, man.
Okay.
Then we'll take a few more calls so that you respond to it. 003-437-9453. 08150320226. And two numbers to call this morning. Call us, ask your question, pass your comments, seek for clarifications, and then probably share your experience. If your child has been vaccinated between 2 days ago and now, let us know how the child has been feeling since that vaccination was expanded onto such a child. Then from there we'll know, Honorable Commissioner, what to do. 003-437-9453. 08150320226. Okay. Is about other health programs that you want us. Okay, let me ask from you. Apart from this vaccination, what other health programs do you have in stock for people from the state?
So we've been talking about our children aged 9 to 5 months all this morning,
Yes.
but we have something for the adults too, so that they don't feel left out.
Okay, I'm happy now.
So
my
anybody,
category is captured.
exactly, mine too.
Yeah.
Anybody age 18 and above, from the Monday the 28th of October to November, that we will be screening adults for free in our centers, general hospitals, some of the private hospitals. We'll be screening adults for diabetes and hypertension totally for free. You don't have to pay anything. What we're trying to do is know how many of us really have this hypertension or diabetes, because these things are silent sometimes. The project is called Project 10 Million. Know your number, but it's not good enough to know it. It's know your number, control your number. So if we pick anybody up that has hypertension or diabetes, then we will point them to either one of our PHCs where the hypertensive drugs are subsidized and at an affordable rate, and just lead you to treatment so that you can avoid the complications of this, what we call non-communicable diseases, which could be stroke, heart attack, and kidney failure. All these things can be avoided if we can detect the hypertension or diabetes early. And that's why all the commissioners, this campaign is being driven by the commissioners from the 36 plus FCT, because we had, Oyeka finished a performance and just dropped it. That was what drove us, and a few other people saw in the media.
So some people watching football match, yes, and then they just drop out.
Yeah, so we thought we must do something as a body of commissioners, and this has never been done before anywhere in the world. And we are urging people to please come out, get yourself screened. We have made provision for over 300,000 adults in Ogun State alone. We're trying to get to you for free.
I must belong to the health insurance scheme where I can participate. Other person.
You don't need to.
I don't need to bring out my ID card. So I have.
You don't need to bring out ID card. You don't need to have insurance. All you need to do is present yourself to get tested for raised blood pressure or raised blood sugar. When we have detected it, yes, you will have a registry of people. Try and get people linked to treatment, and also help us to plan the health system in Ogun State to ensure that people have the adequate health services to look after their health in the future. If I think there's only 1% or 10% of people with hypertension in Ogun State, and the reality is 50%, I have to change my my budget to make sure that the hospital has enough resources to deal with those 50% of the population that might have the hypertension. That's what we're trying to achieve.
Okay, that's a very good one. That's a good effort come from the state government.
So number, control your number.
Okay. 003-437-9453 0815 one of the earlier callers who said that children between 10 and above, now it's now adults between 18 and above, are captured in another government effort aimed at reducing the number of people who are just dropping dead suddenly. Government dropping dead suddenly in our society. And I understand. I don't know education for you. It's on all these things they hide in the body. Even the carriers don't know. Is it true?
The saying is hypertension is a silent killer. There's no symptoms for hypertension. You could be walking around and not know and have a blood pressure of 200 over 180, and the normal is meant to be 100 over 60. If at worst it should be 120 over 80, and so you're walking around with double that amount. You don't know, and suddenly you slump, and people would say that, oh, that person slumped. Recently, a 43-year-old man went in the shower and just slumped and died recently in the last 10 days from hypertension. And it's also important that if you have been diagnosed, that you continue to take your medication. Don't skip your medication. That's the only way you can protect yourself and stay alive to see tomorrow.
So they need to identify and know their health status.
Yeah.
To know where they belong to.
Yeah.
All right. 003 437 9453 0815 032 0226 and the numbers to call this morning. The commissioner is still very much here in the studios.
It'll interest you to know that we'll be in Iwe too. We'll be in the press center. We'll be at the arcade in the governor's office. We'll be in churches. We'll be in mosques. So what would happen is we'll have a website, a national website that you can go to. I don't have the name of the website yet, but when we advertise the campaign, we'll make it available, and you can just check your local government, check your ward, and you'll know exactly where we are in that your community, where you can just go to get.
That way you have gone to. I want to give you kudos. I want to thank you sincerely. I'm a member of that way.
That's why we did it. So you have to keep campaigning for us.
You know the reason.
Yes.
Why I say why I'm thanking you. Yeah. Journalists don't have time for themselves.
Absolutely.
From assignment venue, going to package your story, making sure you catch up with the headlines, we hardly rest. And most of us don't know what the body system is all about. For going to that way, kudos to you once again. We thank you very much. So 003 437 9453 0815 032 0226 are the numbers to call this morning. The commissioner is still very much with us in the studios. She's here for everybody to know what they are doing in the ministry, the vaccination effort that is going across the state, and what people stand to gain by vaccinating their little children. Hello, good morning. Thanks for just go ahead, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. Lapeji. Okay. Okay. Thank you for the information, sir. The Honorable Commissioner, you have the floor.
Thank you. There's been a few questions, but I'll start with Mr. Jaji, who said that provision and orientation awareness creation.
Yes.
Before any vaccination campaign, we have processes through. Okay. Part of the process, what I'm doing now, this is awareness creation. But yes, apart from me, there are health workers on the field that we call health educators that would have created awareness and talk to people in the dialect and try to correct any misinformation and myths. And to be honest, vaccination campaign is not a new thing to mothers. From conception, once they get pregnant, we start to talk to them about all the immunization that they need to get for their children from birth age of 5. So this is just one of those vaccinations. There's MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella. There are various vaccinations between the age of 0 to 5, and this is just one of those. We're constantly giving our mothers information, and sometimes the mothers know even more than you and I about when to go forward and give their children the vaccine. So that is well covered. The efforts we're making to manufacture the Banwood's question.
Yeah.
The coordinating minister for health from Abuja, in Abuja, one of his strategic goals is to increase local manufacturing of drugs, vaccines, and the president, His Excellency Ashwaju, has committed to that. And there's a lot going on. NAFDAC is on board. There's a lot going on in Nigeria to make sure that we are independent and autonomous in our production. Vaccines are being used in South Africa now, and there's no reason why Nigeria in the next few years will not be amongst those nations producing their vaccines. So we have nothing to worry about. It is not necessary that the manufacturers have other agenda. The only reason they're interested in us is Nigeria is the one of the largest nations. The entire globe does not have health security because we are one of those people that move. We don't bring those diseases to their shores.
Yeah.
For instance, now in England, that they had got rid of yellow fever and syphilis, they have it now because of a lot of Africans that are
Relocating to England.
Yes, relocating, and they've immunized their community, but there are people that are unimmunized that have joined the community, spreading the disease. So it is in their interest to make sure that from the whichever continent, Africa, that they are immunized. That's why they invest in us. And that's why they give us these vaccines for free. They have no other agenda but to protect them. It might be.
Before you come to the last person, let's quickly take this call. Then you address the two together. Hello, good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, my country.
Good morning, sir.
Your name, sir? Thanks for calling. Comment.
During the COVID-19 system, the commissioner performed wonderfully and excellently, which people cannot forget in short time. And recently, there was surgery, free surgery to all young and married. It's happening in the last time here, and it was performed excellently. No, there's no way to help it, but I would put those to the commissioner and excellency. But further on, my question is this, madam.
Okay.
Recently, we knew that the rate we did measurement subject to 120, 80, 110, 70. But of course, some people said 150, 110 is still normal. I want to know from you, sir, whether it's 120, 80, or 150, 80, or 150, 100 is the normal big range. That's the one thing. Another thing on this vaccination issue, sir, the people at the rural edge, are they not advantage to it? Because some networkers are not people reaching the rural, the core rural people. They are believe they are the most essential people that need this vaccine. Good morning. Thank you.
Thanks so much for calling, Comrade Akombi from Ayetoro. 2 questions. The BP rate, is it 150, 120? Please educate him.
Okay. The normal blood pressure for an adult should be, between 100 to 140. That's the top bit. And then the bottom one should be about 60 to 90. Once you're getting 140, 90, you're mildly borderline hypertensive. When you get to 150, 100, you are hypertensive. If the bottom one is getting to 110, you are definitely hypertensive. So you should not be deceived. Once the bottom one is over 90, that is hypertension anywhere in the world, and you must seek for help. The borderline one, 140 over 90, you can still have lifestyle changes like eating right, exercising, losing weight, cutting salt in your diet, you could manage it that way. But once you're getting 100, you need to start, engaging a physician that would monitor you and make sure that you don't go overboard and end up with a stroke. So 150 over 110 is far from being normal and needs to be treated.
Those who smoke, are they a danger too?
Oh, yes. The risk factors for hypertension is smoking, obesity, living a sedentary life, can actually make, because you put on weight from that.
Okay.
But high salt intake. And then we, unfortunately, Africans have the predisposition to hypertension.
Is it in our gene?
Well, we've noticed that more Africans, it might be environmental because
Okay.
of a higher salt intake, but that we have a higher incidence of hypertension amongst
Or the
Africans.
type of food we eat here?
It could be food, it could be lifestyle, because a lot of us are overweight.
Okay. Now, it was talking about the vaccination going to the core rural areas in the Ayetoro side. That was the last one.
We've talked about this a lot.
All along.
That we're going everywhere. The one about
sorry. Now let
Lakpeji village.
Yes, in Abafewode.
The thing is, in Ogun State, we have 236 wards, and every ward has a flagship PHC, and those PHCs are functional. When some people build PHCs without actually liaising with the government.
Okay.
So resourcing that PHC then becomes difficult. There's no way a government PHC will be closed. The likelihood is a community has decided to build a PHC and they have not considered the staffing of that PHC. Okay. And that is why any PHC will be closed. It cannot be a government PHC.
Maybe you take time to send
we will investigate and send information to that gentleman.
Okay, let's, because I won't be able to take more calls. I've run out of time this morning. Your take home this morning, your message to the people of Ogun State about the exercise that's going on, the vaccination of children against measles.
I have two messages. The first one is to protect our children between the ages of 9 months and 59 months, okay, by bringing them out to get vaccinated during this measles vaccination campaign. It is important for their growth and for them to achieve their potential in the long run. And it is important for community immunity. The second thing is, for us to be productive adults, we need to know our numbers and control our numbers. So all adults come out, please, I'm pleading, between the 28th to all our PHCs, general hospitals, even the teaching hospitals, as well as other points which we'll put on the website, to check their blood pressure and check their blood sugar, so that we can, early detection is the best form of treatment, the best and cheapest form of treatment to avoid long-term complications. To appreciate all Ogun State citizens for collaborating with us over the last 5 years as an administration, for the encouraging words you've given us. And we promise that through the administration staff, our building will continue to deliver quality care to every citizen that is affordable and accessible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi. You've had it all from the horse's mouth. Reasons why they're having the vaccination and what the adults tend to gain by coming out en masse to check their health status from the 28th of October till the 4th day in the month of November. And she has said it's free of charge. Well, free of charge. Well, she's not alone in the studio. She's accompanied by the Executive Secretary here in Ogun State, Dr. Isola. We have the DFA, Primary Healthcare Board, Mrs. Olufunke Olageshi, and the press officer, my younger sister, Fatima Alatishe. Well, as usual, I am produced by Oladoyin Oloruntola, John Teidi, and Waido Gujobi. I have assisted. The studio manager has been Samuel Adinaye. I have Bolaji Eze and Francis Show. The big fish is in the house. The general manager is equally here. That's the chief producer of the program. Thanks so much for being a pillar of support this morning, man. And she's assisted this morning by the Deputy General Manager Engineering Services, Engineer Femi Adeyoju. Thanks so much, sir, for putting all the buttons to make sure they are welcome. Yeah, for you.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh. So please come out, get your blood pressure checked. Yes. Oh, wow.
Okay, Carol, sir. Fine, sir. Yes, sir.
When you went the live commission.